Hey everyone, welcome back to Grow Smarter Utah, brought to you by Toby Agency. If you're a Utah small business owner, you know how much pressure there is to make every marketing dollar count. Our mission is simple: to help you waste less and grow smarter with your marketing investments, focusing on what actually matters in the Utah market. Today, we're going to talk about something that I think is one of the most underrated marketing strategies for local Utah small businesses: offline marketing, specifically vehicle wraps, fleet graphics, and print. And I brought in an expert who does this every single day for businesses right here in Utah. Josh Minson is the owner of 660 Graphics and Wraps in Draper. He's wrapped everything from single work trucks to full commercial fleets for Utah small businesses. And he has a really clear eyed view of how wraps actually work as a marketing tool, not just a design project. Josh, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here, man. How you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So tell me, you're a client of ours. We do your SEO. We do some things related to your search marketing. Just curious, tell our audience a little bit about your business. Give me your background, how you got started, why you got started in it. And you're a marketing expert as well. So tell us a little bit about your marketing background.
It all started, geez, I feel old, but 30 years ago, I got into the digital side, doing what you guys do. Built websites for up until 2019. That was my digital world, was in digital marketing,
Yeah.
because everything back then in the early 2000s was all about brick and mortar, offline, having your yellow page ads, having all that, but nobody was harnessing the power of the internet at that time.
Yeah.
Um, Facebook didn't even exist back
Hmm.
when I was doing digital marketing, and then it got started coming out, and then that's when I created a training program for harnessing the power of social media, doing that stuff. And then I just started seeing it evolving. Like, people started focusing heavily online, and it's like, no, you can't forget Main Street. Like,
Yeah.
we don't live in a physically don't live in a digital world. So then that's when I started my other company, Red Tide Canopies. We started doing trade show displays and outdoor event tents and stuff like that. And then 2024 and 2023, I've always had this excitement about printing. Actually, going back to 2008, 2009, I had bought my first large format printer, and I was printing banners in the middle of all of this digital stuff because I saw people
Yeah.
getting to market offline. And so then we launched 660 Graphics in 2024, and we've started wrapping vehicles for companies. And it's been a blast. Like, it's had its roller coaster, like, ups
Sure.
and downs, but at the same time, it's like, it's what it is. We have fun, and it's exciting watching companies grow as we help them.
Yeah. So you were in the digital marketing game when you could target on Facebook by like one interest, or you just had to throw a keyword on a website page to get found by Google, right?
I remember the days of building websites and having them ranked on the number one spot on Google within 24 hours. Like, that was I thought I was like the best thing there was to the internet at that time, because it's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, we just got a website launched and it's on front page of Google.
Yeah.
And
I
yeah,
my early digital marketing like claim to fame days where I focused actually more on the paid social side of things. So like in 2008, 2009, that's when Facebook just put its ad platform out.
yeah,
And at the time, I was just doing like freelance, digital marketing, whatever that meant, like back in the day, which is basically anything related to the internet, right? And
right.
so I um I ended up a client picked asked me to run ads for them, and I was able to build their Facebook page to 100,000 followers. And remember, this is before the bot days, right? When
Yeah,
100,000 followers were legit people for like 300 bucks, right? And obviously you're not seeing any of that anymore. Those the name of the game is that the digital marketing space has gotten saturated, right? And it is so and as a and digital, you've owned an agency before, I own an agency. We're both familiar with how hard it is to get through the noise, right?
there's
When
a
it
lot
when
of
it comes to
noise.
search right now. How many more websites have been started since you first started building websites till today, right? How many social media accounts? And so when I met you and just saw this kind of unique background between having seen kind of pioneered kind of the digital space and been in the digital space, but then in this age of AI, and I always think the pendulum swings back the other way, this return to like offline marketing, whether they're events, conferences, right? Trade shows, right? Trade shows are still, a lot of money to invest in them, but people are still doing it because they get an ROI out of it, right? I saw that you had this really unique blend between digital and offline and have kind of lived the life of seeing, the past 2 or 3 decades of this kind of evolve.
Yeah,
So
it's definitely been a wild ride going from it does that like pendulum, you say?
yeah, so just curious, and let's frame this discussion around the context of what's going on in Utah right now, right? So Utah is one of the fastest growing states in the US. I have clients all around the country, and a lot of them are, thinking they're feeling like there's a recession, there's all these things that are going on, right? But, we see more houses being built here. We see population growth happening here, and that isn't going away. Um, with all the new people coming into Utah right now, when it comes to offline marketing, right? Where do you see opportunities for small businesses to try to grab more market share using non-digital sort of techniques?
Well, I think the biggest thing businesses, especially around northern Utah, having your vehicles wrapped as a business owner, and there's so many levels of a vehicle wrap. There's spot graphics all the way up to full best bang for your buck, full wraps. Um, that's really the biggest bang for your buck ROI wise.
Yeah.
Cost the cost per lead is crazy when it comes down to a
Yeah.
vehicle.
So, like, when most business owners in general are so focused on digital. I've got to have a website. I've got to have SEO, and that's fine. It's important. We all agree on that, right? But how often do you talk to someone who might have never thought of their van as a marketing tool? Does that happen often? Do you have to kind of like educate them on, hey, you're missing a lot of opportunity here, or like where do you bring that up with them, or how often do you bring it up?
Yeah, we've had a few customers that it's a new thought for them, because they, like I said, a lot of people focus on digital, or they focus on their business signage at their storefront. I mean, it's not as rare as it used to be of people thinking about wrapping their car. Because I remember when I first wrapped my first car, I had my web design company, and I
Yeah.
wrapped a 91 Honda Accord. It was a full wrap, and that was back in 2004,
Okay.
uh,
Oh wow.
2003, 2004. So
Yeah.
we're 23, 20 years past, 22 years, 23 years later.
Yeah.
Um, and I look back then and people were like, "Holy cow, what is this? Who sponsored your car? How did you do it?" Like, it was mind blowing back then. Now I think vehicle wraps are a little more mainstream in a
Mhm.
sense to businesses. There are still
Yeah.
some of the old school people that are like, I don't really need it. But then the minute they do, they're like, wow, I should have done this 20 years ago,
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of thing.
So, like, if there's a business owner who's obviously seen wraps and they may have thought about it before, um, why are most of them on the fence? Is it cost? Is it they don't understand the ROI behind it, the number of impressions it could actually drive for them? Why are they on the fence if they kind of know about it as a channel, but maybe haven't taken the step to do it?
I think a lot of people are just still not educated on the aspects of a wrap. Like, people think, one, I think some people think the cost. It's like, yeah, I wrap my car, it's gonna cost me $3,500, but I'm gonna have to redo it again in 3 to 5 years.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Um, and I think that's where people are like, oh, if I'm spending, let's say, on a transit van or a bigger vehicle, $5,000, well, that vinyl wrap should last me 20 years. That's the mindset people have. And it's like, no, vinyl is plastic and the sun cooks plastic.
And we're
So
in Utah.
you have to refresh it.
Yeah.
Plus, if you're not refreshing your brand every 3 to 5 years anyway, you're probably pretty stale. And we deal with a lot of clients that they come in and they design their logo in Microsoft Word back in
Mhm.
1999,
Mhm.
and they're stuck on it, and then they want to put that logo on a wrap, and it's like we don't have vector files. Like, that logo was designed
Yep.
in Word, so then we have to, at that point, I try to teach them on how to update and freshen their brand. Let's come up with a new logo that still fits what you had, but brings it into the modern age of eye-catching design, and then in turn put it on their vehicles. Then they can use it on their website. They can use it in their social media,
Yep.
and it
Yep.
all ties together. It's just like with my other company with Red Tide. It's kind of a segue into that. I started a company called Red Tide Marketing. That was my digital marketing company. And I had a professor from the University of Utah call me, yelling at me, asking why I named my company after such a bad environmental thing. And I was like, hold on a minute. Like, that's not why I did it. I was
Yeah, that
looking,
wasn't the first thought that came to my mind.
I was looking at the fact that red tide is an algae, which is a small microorganism. But when those small things come together, just like in marketing, when you have digital, you have a vehicle wrap, you have your logo, you
Yeah.
have all this stuff, and you bring it together, it then helps your business grow. And it's the same concept as algae. It's like,
Yep.
and by the time I hung up the phone with that, that professor, like, and at this point I was like 24, 23,
Uh-huh.
24 years old. So it's
Yeah.
like, I just schooled a 60-year-old college professor on why I named my company after algae. And I felt so, it was cool. Um, but yeah, it's just, people just need to know. And I think that's the hardest part, is they still are just trying to figure that out with the rap world on why it costs what it costs. But then when we break
Yeah.
it down into the ROI and stuff like that, it's, and the
Well,
impressions, it's crazy.
I'll kind of take it from two perspectives here. And actually, even in working with you, I think you just shed some light on kind of what you do here. So the first thing is, if you don't have a wrap, right? And you're a local business, you're a service business, right? Obviously it's mobile advertising, right? And if you're thinking about 5 grand, you amortize that cost over, let's just say on the short end, 3 years, right? So 36 months, you're taking that cost. So let me just say, because I can't do math for the life of me. So that's $138 a month, right? That you're spending on that wrap, right? And if you look at it as a capital expense or a capital investment or whatever, you can amortize that cost. So let's say 140 bucks a month. Look, Josh, like you and I both know that 140 bucks a month on Facebook ads and search ads doesn't get you shit, right?
It gets you nothing.
So it gets you absolutely nothing, right? So like maybe that's one way to think about it as a business owner, right? Is like, yeah, like you're not going to spend 5 grand up front to do Facebook ads, like unless you're like a pretty decent sized business. Most businesses we're working with are spending between 800 to $1,000 a month on Facebook ads. Hey, look, if you're getting conversions from those Facebook ads, run that all day, every day. You know what I mean? But I can guarantee you, most of you are not getting conversions on the 800 to $1,000 you're spending on
Yeah.
those Facebook ads. You might be generating leads, you might be getting website traffic or whatever, and you may not know what that converts at. But again, like spreading out that cost over 36 months, and even if you think about it over 48 months, right, that cost goes down even more. But Josh, like if you're someone new to wraps and you're a business owner and now you're like, oh, okay, yeah, 140 bucks a month sounds affordable. What kind of impressions do you think they can generate, right? Let's say you're an HVAC business, you're a local HVAC business, right? And you got a fleet of, let's say, three vans, right? That are going out there every day. What kind of impressions do you think you can kind of generate on a monthly basis or a weekly basis?
Statistically, the reports that come out, they say an average vehicle wrap receives between 30 and 70,000 impressions per day, depending on where they're driving, right? If their car,
Yeah,
if their car's just sitting in their driveway and they're still getting seen. Um,
100%.
so
Yep.
we'll take these numbers we've been talking about. So you have, let's take the average, we'll go right in the middle, 50,000 impressions per day. Um, and you figure at $150 a month, take that 150, so 50,000 times 30 days. That's 1.5 million impressions in a month,
Yep.
right? Divide that, take that 150, divide that by 1.5.
Yep.
You're paying 0.0001 cents per impression. Like, you're not even paying a penny
And
per impression.
the even more important part of that analysis as well is that these are local
Yeah,
impressions.
it's
These
your
are
name.
like they're in your neighborhood. It costs me more money on Facebook and Google to geo-target or restrict around a specific area. So like to get that eyeball right? And granted, they may not be looking to replace their HVAC tomorrow but the point is that you've planted your brand in their mind. And I think a lot of times when I talk to business owners or anybody who is kind of new at marketing or not an expert at marketing, they have to understand that you have to build a pipeline when you're looking to get a customer, right?
Yeah.
Just like you're not looking to drive your van around and yeah, maybe luckily if someone will pick up the phone and say, "Oh, I need to fix my HVAC tomorrow. I saw your van." That's the best case scenario, and we always want that, right? But the point is that maybe they saw one of your vans last week. Maybe they saw one of your vans next month. And maybe they saw another one of your vans 2 months from now, and we're going into the summer when your HVAC just broke, right? And so you had an opportunity to place that 0.0001 cent or whatever that impression was that gave you a chance 3 months later to be able to get that customer, right?
Yeah.
And when you start thinking about your marketing more as a pipeline and not thinking about, hey, if my marketing doesn't get me money tomorrow, right? Like it's not working. That's not the right way to think about wraps. You got to think about it like you're saturating the market out there and you're putting your brand out there in front of very, very relevant eyeballs, right? So I think that math that Josh just ran for you all, especially if you're running Facebook ads or whatever, don't look at the 5 grand, right? Look at this is a marketing expense that I'm going to break down and amortize over a specific period of time,
And you
right?
figure that 1.5 million impressions a month, you're taking that, um, timesing that by, let's say, we'll just say on average 36 months. That's
Yep.
54 million impressions for $5,000.
Yep.
Like, and it's crazy because you're not going to get that kind of ROI and per impression dollars cost anywhere
Yep.
else. And it's working 24/7, just like your social media ads, your Google ads, your website. You're paying that fee once
Yep.
every 3 years to wrap that one van. Um,
Yep.
and then he times that by how many vans you have. So we've had customers where we've done one van, and next thing you know, they're calling us 2 months later, and they've got 3 more vans.
Right on. Nice.
And
Yeah.
so it's like it's insane how well it works and how vehicle wraps expand. Like I have one customer, like every time I wrap a car for her, she gets a job between our shop and her house. Every
Wow.
time for every vehicle. It's crazy.
Nice. So we just talked about someone who might have never done a wrap before. Let's talk about folks who've done wraps where they have maybe an old or aging or, outdated kind of wrap on their vehicle, right? I never really thought about refreshing the wrap or renewing the wrap. It's something that, I think a sort of positive training and behavior that happened, during or after COVID was we just got a lot more used to QR codes, right? And using QR codes. And maybe that was something that was really well used, not necessarily in the United States like pre-COVID, but because of the stupid, QR code menus and all those kind of things that we had to do during COVID, I think people just got used to using them in daily life. Also, about 5 or 6 years ago, at least Apple, they basically allowed QR codes to be scanned directly from your camera, right? And
Yeah.
so I think that, kind of turbocharged the usage of it. So one thought that I had, Josh, was let's say you wrapped your vehicle 5 or 6 years ago, right? You may not have a QR code. And for me, as someone in digital, I'm always looking to find ways to connect offline experiences to like digital experiences, right? So one use case I was thinking about is if you don't have a QR code or you don't have something on a wrap, like I feel like that's a missed opportunity for
100%.
you. What's your take on QR codes and how well they work with vinyl wraps or just graphics in general, right? Banners, wraps, those types of things.
I think QR codes, they, like we all know, they started out in manufacturing, so they were super complex. And then mainstream, like you said, we had apps that we had to download. They were cumbersome 5, 6 years ago. And then Apple and
Yep.
Android, they came out with the built-in scanners. The cool part about QR codes, and I swear by them, because you get a lot of these companies that want to just they want to vomit their service list all over their car.
Yep.
Well, nobody
Yep.
reads that. Nobody cares
Yep.
about that. People want to put that they're family owned and operated. Nobody cares about that. They all they care about is who you are and how you could help me. And so the fun part about a QR code is that takes that service list and all that nonsense that you want to share on your driving billboard, and it puts it into your website or whatever you're using. So then that allows the end user, the consumer, to learn more about your business, because when you're stuck in I-15 traffic between South Salt Lake and Draper and Lehigh, and you're falling behind a vehicle and you're like, "Oh yeah, my wife wanted me to get this
Yep.
water heaters going out," and you're
Yep.
stuck behind
Yep.
a water heater repair guy or a plumber, and you
Yep.
can scan that QR code, learn more about them, decide if you want to work with them, if they have that style, that fit, that personality that works with you. Heck yeah. Um, QR codes, like I love them. Like I have them on my vehicles for our shop. Um, and we have them. I put them on every customer's car because I refuse to put lists that are 10 miles long. We don't need an encyclopedia on a car. You have 3 seconds, just like a billboard,
Yeah, dude,
to
totally.
get
Yep.
that attention, to tell people who you are, what you do within 3 seconds. And your logo should do all of that for them.
So, what should go on the wrap, right? Like you just said, like who you are, what you do. Is it your logo and tagline and phone number that goes on it? Like, what do you think is the priority information that should go on a wrap? Like, definitely no laundry lists, right? But
Yeah, no laundry
what would you
lists.
prioritize?
The number one element of a vehicle wrap should be your logo, because that's what people are going to remember. And as weird as it may sound, if your logo doesn't attract the eyes of a child,
Mm,
you're not going to
good one.
stand out, because like we have this one plumbing client, we designed their logo. Their old logo is that typical pipe wrench with
Mhm.
whatever that plumbers do. Well, we changed our logo and it's got a cool little gnome, and he's the plumbing gnome. And
Cool.
right.
Yeah.
And that logo is seen by mom and dads, parents, grandparents, because the grandkids and the kids see it and they're like, "Mom, look, look at the gnome on the side of that van." Well, then
Yep.
mom and dad look at it and they're like, "Oh, it's plumber. That's cool." And so that's kind of that whole, it's weird to say, but your brand should speak to kids as well. Like if you can
Yeah.
get, like I've done
Yeah.
logos. We did a logo for a window company down in Richfield, and it's called Thumbs Up Windows and Doors. And we have a cowboy with thumbs up, and it's fun. He's coming through a door window, coming out of a window, whatever. And that's just, you get the kids to look at it. They say, "Hey, mom, look, that's funny," or something, right?
Yep.
Um, but then there's the old mindset of, I don't care about the kids. Like, let's just do our thing. We're old school. Plumbers should be very unionized kind of design.
Yep.
But in this day and age, you got to stand out. And if everybody has that boring old industrialized logo,
Yep.
you're going to blend in. So I'm one that you have to have a brand that stands out and grabs attention all the time. Like, and it's crazy because people will recognize it when they see it on a yard sign after you just did the roof on their house, or they
Mhm.
see it on the car, or then they are like on YouTube and all of a sudden this ad pops up and they're like, "I remember that company from," and then randomly they'll be at the grocery store and the guy will be wearing the shirt on the logo on the back of his shirt, and it'll click and they'll start a conversation. And so, yeah, I can go on for hours on this stuff.
Yeah. So on, let me ask you this actually, maybe awkward situation. So let's say a potential customer comes to you, they want a wrap done, but their brand sucks, right? The logo's not great, color, not much to work with there. How do you approach those conversations? Because I mean, I run into the same challenges, man. Like, you're not quite calling the baby ugly, but kind of, right? And
Oh,
so,
if somebody comes to us and I've told people so many times straight up, your logo sucks. Like, I'm
yeah,
not afraid, because they're paying us to help grow their business, right?
yeah,
And like we had a customer from Fillmore, um, plumbing, heating, and air. Same thing, boring logo, nothing that stood out. And I'm like, "You're paying $5,000 for us to wrap your van, to grow your business, and your logo sucks. Like, let me come up with some ideas, and I'll show you some of our ideas on what would help." And we just enhance what they have, and just,
okay,
but
okay,
I literally tell people daily, and it's actually, I used to not, because I have that people pleaser mentality. I'm like, I just
mhm,
want to make sure people are happy. I don't want
yeah,
to have conflict. But I've gotten to the point over the last year and a half where I'm just like, you know what? Your logo sucks. Like, we've got to fix this.
Yeah.
I can't consciously put this bad logo on it and make a wrap design that looks amazing and then put this terrible logo on top of it. Like, it just
Yeah.
doesn't work. And sadly, sadly, but it works. Like, people,
Yeah.
they have to hear the sad, hard truth. If their business is not working right now, they've probably got something going on with their branding. Um, I
Yeah.
heard it
And, you
yesterday.
know, I think it's interesting this day and age, like the more competition there is, the more your brand is actually kind of your defense against the competition to help
Yeah,
you stand out. It's always an interesting conversation because like if you are going to make that investment, right? And I think that's actually why you, Josh, with a marketing background, both offline and online, which extends across brand and things like that. Um, like a lot of people like lump brand together with marketing and they're different things, right? But they you need a good brand to be able to do marketing, right?
yeah,
And so without having that foundation, like it can be a poor investment. Have you ever had to print a wrap using a logo you didn't like?
yeah.
Yeah.
The one is the ones I love the most are the customers that come to us with an idea that ChatGPT created for them,
Oh yeah.
and they're like, "I want it to look exactly like this, and I don't want to change anything."
Yep.
And I go, "Okay, well, do you have a logo?" "No, this is all I have. This image from AI." And I'm like,
Wow.
"Okay, um, you should step away from the computer and never go back to ChatGPT
Yeah.
again." Um, like I'll admit we do utilize AI in our
Of
shop,
course.
like,
Yeah.
especially when it comes down to designs. Like we get a lot of customers that they're like, "Yeah, I don't want to pay half down to start on the design," but we
Yeah.
have to because our design team's not going to work for free. We've had a few
Yeah.
clients where we'll spend hours on a design, and the next thing you know, they're going to a competitor
Yep.
and they
Yep.
take our design over there. So when we have customers that are just like, "Hey, I just want to see what it would look like," we've trained our AI tools to think like a designer. Um,
Simple mock-up. Yeah.
like
Mhm.
we've
Yeah.
spent, and I think that's the key. If you're going to use AI in design, you've got to train your AIs.
Yep.
Like, I'm a graphic designer, so I know things that work and don't work in design. So when I'm
Yep.
working with our AI tools, they've now learned to where now anyone in my team can go in and use our tools and it'll create quality renderings and ideas, not just
Yep.
logos stuck over black trim that can't be wrapped. And they're like, "I want that plastic wrapped." I'm like, "Well, it doesn't wrap."
Yep.
And
Yep.
so, but yeah, back to your question, we have wrapped some vehicles with logos that I'm like, yeah, it's terrible. And then,
Yeah.
yeah, it's, I went on a tangent to AI on that,
No, that
but it
that's a
tied
good
in with the
one.
terrible designs because that's one we get a lot.
Well, no, and I think if you're this is again, it's like you go hire an expert to go do what an expert does, right? And so, um, you know, a lot of times you bring in something thinking you know what's good based on your impression of what's good, right? And sometimes, like if you haven't operated at an expert level, your impression of what's good is actually just average or not good.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you go see an expert like Josh, just like you know, if you would come to me to build a website or do SEO, like you'd probably want to rely on the analysis and the feedback that we gave you, right? Because
Yeah.
we've been doing this for a while. We've done it hundreds and thousands of times. Um, I'm curious, Josh, that you work with a lot of different kind of businesses across northern Utah. What are the types of businesses that do well, right, with wraps, right? We talked a little bit about HVAC, we talked about plumbing and things like that, but give me some examples of some industries that you've like seen some good case studies in. You do like food trucks and things like that as well, right? So tell me a little bit about the different types of businesses that might benefit from not only getting a wrap, but doing a wrap through you and your approach to it with the marketing and ROI and all that stuff.
I think all businesses could benefit from a vehicle wrap. It doesn't matter if you're the small mom that goes out and cleans houses,
Yep.
or if you're a food truck that's got a fleet of three different food trucks in three different locations, or if you're just one solo food truck with selling hot dogs.
Yeah.
Um, people shop and buy and eat with their eyes. They're visual. Everyone's visual. Like you look at social media, like look how social media has adapted, where everything is now video visual. Nobody has time to read.
Yep.
Um, so I think every business from daycares to plumbers to contractors, we have people that dig trenches for a living, excavation companies, they get wraps. And we've seen growth in those companies. Um, so honestly, I believe if you're serious about growing your business, even a simple back window wrap or a tailgate wrap on your pickup truck is
Yeah.
gonna make a difference. Because we have customers that don't wanna spend thousands of dollars on a full wrap because it's their personal vehicle.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
so we'll do a tailgate wrap for $400 that
Oh,
has our
sweet. Okay.
logo, it has all their
Yep.
stuff, and it's a quick, easy thing that's on their tailgate. It's very painless. The other option is the window perf on the back windows, so it doesn't affect their view when they're driving. Um,
Yep.
that kind of stuff, it's very affordable and cost effective and looks nice. Versus just slapping some vinyl from your hobby shop Cricut machine.
Yeah.
Um, that fails. Like people do that all the time. Um, but like I said, every business benefits from a vehicle wrap or some sort of vehicle graphics because your cars are out there 24 hours a day, whether you're at the grocery store, or at the baseball game with your kids, or at church. Um, you never know who might need your service or want your product. So everybody should
Yeah.
wrap their cars.
The other thing I wanted to point out about wrapping your vehicle, especially if you're running like ad campaigns, whether they're like digital campaigns on Facebook or Instagram, or even local campaigns on, KSL and all the, billboards that are out there, is there's something about seeing your brand in the physical world and then seeing an ad with your brand that kind of matches what you saw in the physical world, right? There's this, it just again puts that other marketing touch point in somebody's mind. And so even if you are running, you're a local business, you're running ad campaigns, they're digital campaigns, um, using those QR codes, right? Building a landing page that might be specific to that QR code, right? It allows you to actually track what's going on with the wraps that you have out there. If you use a tool called bit.ly, you can create QR codes and you can build all kinds of analytics around those QR codes. In fact, like I've even seen where someone scans a QR code, it asked them, it was like for a home contractor, a general contractor. It said scan here to see how much it might cost to remodel your basement, right? And so they scan there. It goes to a landing page. It asks them, how big is your basement? How many plumbing outlets do you have? What do you want to do? X, Y, and Z. And right there on the spot, like they can get like a basic quote for what it might cost them to do their basement. And then on top of that, the person who put that QR code out there, it has a lead now, right? And these are just ways that you can um, bring together that kind of offline and online parts of your business to like really figure out a way to kind of connect those two. Because I think you shouldn't be thinking about it offline or online. It should be both. Like, how do you
Yeah.
actually get both of them to work well together? I still see a lot of value in direct mail, those types of things. And so, you know, um, we tend to talk a lot about digital in the world that we live in, but I think one thing that is unique about Utah is that it's a big small market, if that makes sense, right? Like it's a big market with small businesses where a lot of these more traditional marketing and advertising methods still work. So,
Yeah.
um, let's say Josh, like someone is sold, they're listening to this episode, they're sold, right? They want to explore wraps. Um, what's their first step to working with you? What should be thinking about before they call you? If they're worried about their brand, what should they be thinking about, right? What kind of questions should they ask? And how should they think about their budget if they want to talk to you?
I think the biggest thing is if they're sold and they want to work with us directly, um, just know we're gonna make sure everything's taken care of. Like, if your logo isn't the greatest file, if you cannot get a vector art file, which is what we prefer versus
Yep.
raster X files, so they print clear when blown up to on the side of a van. we can help them recreate those if they cannot get them. Um, we if they don't have a logo, we offer that at a discounted rate to design a logo with the wrap. Um, the other thing is if they're shopping around, which I'm all about shopping around, um, never go with the cheapest guy.
Yep.
Vehicle wraps, at the end of the day, you have to think of the quality of the wrap and how it's going to remove later. Because we've seen wraps where we've taken them off. Like there's been people that have come in, their wrap's 6 months old and it's already burning on the hood. It's already turning black.
Wow.
Needs to be replaced. It's failing. But then, and they can't get a hold of who they had do it.
Yeah.
Um, like
It was the
we
guy that
off,
did it in their garage or in
yeah,
the garage of
always.
their
Um, and the big thing is find out what the warranty is on it. Like the
Right.
manufacturers
Yeah.
do offer a material warranty, but like we personally, we offer a 1 year warranty on all of our wraps, um, for workmanship. So if something like, let's say it shows up 6 months later, we're going to replace that whole hood because
Yep.
there's something wrong there. And then we're going to
Yep.
deal with the manufacturer to get reimbursed for the material that failed. Um, the other thing is when you're shopping around, like we remove all door handles, all trim,
Yep.
mirror. We remove all of the accessory panel pieces off of a vehicle and then wrap it and then put all that back on. Because if you just cut around it, you have a seam that's going to create a failure point at some point. So we always remove those. So I always say if you're going to go to a shop and shop around, ask those questions on what type of
Yep.
material they're using. Do they remove door handles and mirrors? Do they offer, how do they clean and prep? Like we spend days, like we have a food truck we're working on right now that was an old fire truck. Well, it's red and white. It's getting wrapped all black. So we have to cover up every surface with vinyl or we have to paint some areas. And so I had to explain to the customer, I'm like, it's a red and white fire truck. We have to paint some surfaces that vinyl, because vinyl is meant to be flat. It's like a piece of paper. It's
Yep.
plastic. So it tries to find its way back to its natural shape and natural home. And so in some cases, like this food truck, like we have to physically paint some areas satin
Yeah.
black so that they're not showing red or white.
Right.
Um, and that's the stuff that we do to make sure that a finish is done right for the customer. Because I would hate to have a black and gold wrap with red stripes that show up on a
Totally.
rail. Just throws it off. So that's where
Yeah.
we take the extra step and we tell the customer, hey, this is how it's going to be. Otherwise, if you would like, we can paint it. And then we prep it and we paint the surfaces and then we wrap over that. And granted, when they peel the wrap off, it's going to have areas of black paint that are not red. Um,
Right.
but if they do it right, they can have that black paint removed without, if they know how to do it. But we work
Yep.
with several body shops. We partner with body shops. Like we've had customers that they wanted us to do some chrome delete color matching, and
Mm.
like on Chevrolet truck door handles, they fail. Like vinyl does not like that, or the antennas on the newer vehicles that have the shark fin antennas.
Yep.
You can wrap them, but they fail over time. So if we have a car that's like, yeah, I want to wrap the roof black, well, we'll have the antenna painted so it looks better. And
Gotcha.
then even if they peel the wrap off and the car's white or silver, who cares? The antenna's black. It still matches.
Yeah.
Black matches everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
we had a customer that with the chrome delete, he was like, don't worry about the door handles. I'm going to go buy new ones from Chevrolet that are paint matched. And I said, well, we could do that for you. And so like
Mhm.
we partner with a paint shop. We took the door handles out. They took them to their shop. They sprayed them, brought them back, put them back in. Customer loves it because he didn't have to spend
Yeah.
$4,000 on new door handles for his Chevy truck, GMC,
Yeah.
Denali, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so there's just extra steps that we take here. We treat every customer's car as if it's our own. We're all car guys and car girls in here, so we
Yep.
love just horsepower and cool cars. So
Yeah.
we definitely go the extra mile and extra step to make sure our installs are as flawless as humanly possible.
Yeah. I think, you speak to the quality of the work that you do and the attention to detail, and for sure, not every, wrap company is created equal 100%. The thing that stands out to me the most about why someone would wanna work with your business is your branding and your marketing knowledge. I think, you know, it's almost we think it's almost like par for the course if you should be doing good quality work. We know that's not always the case. But if you want someone, I think, to go the extra step and really look at how you're using the wrap or the graphics or the repro for how to market your business and grow your business, I think that's where Josh comes in, right? Like he can think more about it as less of just covering your truck and more so about what to cover your truck with, what to put it on there, and how to connect it back to your marketing so that you can get more ROI, right? I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of value in that. So,
Yeah, the key is
um,
the
yeah,
key is matching it all together.
yep,
We've
yep,
done some videos where we talked about that. Um, your logo's priority, and if we take your wrap, we connect it to your website, we connect it to your Facebook, your Google Maps, your your reviews.
yep,
Like
yep,
it's like algae. You have those small little microorganisms. They come
yep,
together, business grows, and that's
yep.
what we do.
Yep, 100%. Well, so there you have it. If you got a company vehicle sitting in your driveway or on a job site and it doesn't have your name on it, you are leaving money on the table every single day. Offline marketing isn't dead, especially for local businesses in Utah. It might be the most underrated and underutilized channel that you've got. So if you want to explore a wrap or fleet graphics could do for your business, head over to 660 Graphics. Josh actually offers free marketing consultations, and that's something that I think all of you should take advantage of is that you're not just going in there to figure out how much a wrap is going to cost for your vehicle or your fleet of vehicles. You're actually going there to talk to him about your brand, how it can link to your online marketing, and how to actually use some of the assets that you've built for offline marketing. So, if you want to get that marketing consultation, go to 660 Graphics and talk to Josh. It's a lot more than, as we kind of carried in this conversation, it's a lot more than just figuring out like what to put on the wrap. It's about kind of driving your brain and your overall marketing strategy. So, Josh, thanks so much for joining us today. I'll put all the links to your socials and to your website in the episode notes and into the description. But thanks for joining us. Thanks for dropping all the knowledge on our audience today, and really appreciate you having you
Yeah,
here.
it was awesome. And like I always tell people, we don't just wrap cars; we build businesses. That's
That's right.
660's mantra. So
Yep, 100%. Josh, thanks, man. We'll get everyone in touch with you, and have a great rest of your day. Take
yeah,
care.
you too. Thank you.